Hey guys, Desasante here from the Tech Muse Academy. Welcome back to episode 73 of the Tech Muse podcast. Today on the show, I wanted to sort of wrap up a series that we had started a few episodes ago on basic music theory for songwriters and producers. I wanted to sort of put a pin in that and just give you something practical this time around, with the addition also of one new piece of information that you may find extremely useful. So today we are going to talk about modal relativity. Don't let that intimidate you. It's fairly simple to understand once you get your mind around the concept. But that's basically, you may have heard the phrase relative minor, relative major. Well, that's what I'm talking about. I want to break down exactly what that means for you in a very simple way. And then I also want to then take everything we've learned so far. Incidentally, if you have not yet listened to or watched the first 3 videos in this series, head on over to techmuseacademy.com and check them out. I'll try to leave links where I can so that you can check those out if you haven't yet seen them, because this is going to build upon what we've already learned. So you're definitely going to want to go through those in order to really get a firm understanding of what we're getting into here today. Okay. So techmuseacademy.com is where you'll find everything related to this subject and much, much more. So head on over there as soon as you get the opportunity. And like I say, don't watch this until you've watched those other 3 videos, because some of this may not make sense unless you've already studied music theory, which I know a lot of you haven't. Which is the reason why I'm putting this together. So today, first of all, the first thing we covered in the first episode was 7 notes, 7 chords. So we talked about how to create the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do sequence of notes from the 12 notes we have on a piano or in Western music in general. Doesn't matter your instrument. We figured out the formula: tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. That's how you build a major scale from any note you want to start on. The note you start on is the name of the major key that you're playing in. But what if you want to play in a minor key? Let's say, for example, you want to play in A minor, okay? Well, there is also a formula of the tones and semitones to determine a minor scale as well. But rather than confuse you with all these different formulas, what I'd rather do is take it from a slightly different angle. Let's stick with the tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So 2 tones and a half step, 3 tones and a half step is the formula for any major scale. And then just add one little bit of information once you've determined what the notes are. If you want to play in a minor key, all you do is take those exact same notes and start from the 6th note of that scale. So play from 6 to 6, all the way through 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That gives you automatically a minor scale. And the reason why they refer to it as the relative minor is because it contains the exact same notes as the major. Let me give you an example. Let's look at the keyboard for a second, and we're going to stick with C like we normally do for examples, because C has no sharps or flats, no black keys on the piano, so it's just a little easier to visualize. So C major, there's the tonic, the first note of the scale. According to our formula, we go up a tone, a tone, a semitone, a tone, a tone, a tone, and a semitone. That gives us our major scale. So let's determine what the 6th note is, what the relative minor is. So if we go here, our notes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the A in this particular key is the relative minor to the C. And all that means is it's the minor scale that has the exact same notes in it as the major counterpart. So let's try this. Let's play the same notes, nothing but white keys, okay? And actually this keyboard, I just realized, doesn't go all the way up to the next octave, but we'll see, we'll do our best. So if we start from the A, and then I'm out of keys. That's unfortunate. Let's see if I can find another virtual keyboard that has more keys. Is that the one I was just on? No, here's one. Let's try this one. Okay, so this one doesn't have the notes written on it, but take my word for it, that's an A. So again, I'll play A through A with the same notes that we just determined are in the C major scale. No sharps, no flats, no black keys, and have a listen. And that has that minor scale sound, that slightly saddened flavor as compared to the major, okay? And this applies to any key. Pick any note on the instrument, do the tone, semitone formula to determine the major scale, to determine what notes are in that key, and then just figure out which one is the sixth note. That is the relative minor. It'll contain the exact same notes that you already determined from the major, except it'll have the minor flavor when you start and end on the sixth degree of the scale, okay? So if we go back to our usual keyboard here for a moment, let's say I was going to build a tune based off of the E flat. So E, one semitone lower is its flat. Incidentally, one semitone higher is the sharp. That's why this piano is labeled as a D sharp, because that black key is just 1/2 step higher than the D, but it's also 1/2 step lower than the E. So that note can have more than one name. It's an E flat, but it's also a D sharp. So I just wanted to explain that because I'm calling it E flat, but they're calling it D sharp. Call it what you will, doesn't really matter. It's the same thing. So let's build our major scale. So there's our root. So formula is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So you'll notice the notes that we had. We had the D sharp or E flat, the F, the G, the A flat, because we have a G already, so let's call it by its A name, the A flat, B flat, C, D, and back to E flat again, okay? So those are the notes that make up the E flat major scale or the D sharp major scale, but most musicians will call it E flat, okay? So let's determine what's the sixth note, what's the relative minor. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is, the C. So if we play this from C to C using the sharps and flats that we've just determined that belong to the relative major, we will also get the C minor scale, the relative minor scale to E flat major. So let's check it out. Sorry. There it is, and that sounds very minor, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, by all means, leave comments below this, wherever it is that you found it, YouTube, on the blog itself, techmusicacademy.com. Leave questions and we can spark a discussion. But all I wanted to do is explain to you, just to tie one last piece of information onto what we've learned so far. Everything we've talked about has been major. Well, what if I want to write in a minor key? Well, this is how you do it. You pick a major scale, figure out what the sixth note is, and there's the relative minor. Use the same notes, the same key signature, and you'll have that minor scale, okay? So you'll notice that when we started at E flat major, when we went down, when we determined what the relative minor was, a simple way to figure it out on your instrument is to go down 3 semitones. No matter where you are, if you're in G and you go down 3 semitones, E is the relative minor. E minor contains the exact same notes as G major. If you're in B major and you go down 1, 2, 3 semitones, G sharp minor or A flat minor, depending on what you want to call it, would be the relative minor, okay? So that's just a quicker way, instead of figuring out all the notes and then figuring out what the sixth one is. Once you start to remember the key signatures to these major keys, just go down 3 semitones and you'll find the relative minor, okay? And again, hopefully that doesn't add confusion to what I'm trying to explain here. So, if that makes sense, let's move along. What I want to do to wrap up today's conversation with is actually come up with a piece of music using the theory that we've learned so far. So what I'm going to do is open up text editor, and I'll start a new document here. And let's do a little bit of composition even before we touch an instrument. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do, let's take the last example we just did. We did E flat, E flat major, and its relative minor, which is C minor. So let's determine the notes. So there's our E flat right there. Okay, let me get that back on the screen here. So our notes are E flat. Oops, let's get rid of caps lock here. E flat. The next one is from here, a tone, so F. And I'll make this larger in a moment so you can read it more clearly. The next one from the F, so tone is G. semitone. We're going to call that A flat because we don't want to have two G's in the same scale. It just makes it confusing. So we're going to give it its A name. Okay. A flat. And then, so we had tone, tone, semitone, tone. So we're going to B flat. Let's put that in there. Tone, C. Tone, D. Semitone. Back to E flat again. Okay, so let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Oh, I thought I had the key command for that, so let's do it this way. Format, font. Yeah, command plus. I thought that was the, I have to select it first. There we go. Okay, so those are the notes in our scale. And I'll just separate them a little bit, make it a little easier to see. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the notes in our scale. Now, if you remember from our first video when we talked about 7 notes and 7 chords, those are our 7 notes. And if you remember, note number 1 is always major. And I use a plus sign to determine that. Note number 2 is always minor. I'm going to use a minus sign to determine that. And I'm going to take this away so it's less confusing. Note number 3 is always minor as well. Note number 4 is always major. Note number 5 is always major. Note number 6 is always minor. Note number 7 is always diminished, and that's represented by a little circle, okay? So now we know the chords that are in this key. E flat major, F minor, G minor, A flat major, B flat major, C minor, and D diminished. And then we're back to 1 again. That's the same thing as the first note, okay? So I'm just gonna actually take that off the end there so that it becomes a little easier to see that there are 7 notes and 7 chords. So if we wanted to write a song in the relative minor, in this case, number 6 is the minor, so that's be C minor. We use the exact same chords. So we have a C minor, a D diminished, an E flat major, an F minor, a G minor, an A flat major, and a B flat major, and we're back to C minor again, okay? Same chords, that's what makes them related, okay? So let's do this. We're gonna actually use this information and come up with a chord progression. So we're gonna call this, let's do a verse, and that's gonna be, let's see, we're gonna pick some numbers. So we're gonna go, I'm gonna do the minor. So I'm gonna start with number 6 here. So we're gonna go 6. I'm gonna go maybe, let's see, random here. Let's try 3. Let's try, let's say, maybe 4. Okay, so we'll do 4 and 5. For the verse, little 4-chord, 4-bar measure, okay? And let's say our chorus is gonna be, let's go, maybe we'll do 1, maybe we'll do 6, and maybe we'll do 2 and 5. So let's figure out what those chords would be. So 6, C minor, 3, G minor, 4, A flat major, 5, B flat major. Okay. In the chorus, 1, E flat major, 6, C minor, 2, F minor, 5, B flat major. Okay. So let's see what that sounds like. I'm going to grab an instrument here. And we'll see what we can do. So, we've got, that's your tune. Close enough for punk rock. Okay, so there's our chord 6. Our chord 3 is G minor. Our chord 4 is A flat major. Our chord 5 is B flat major. Let's hear that again. Play the chord right. Let's hear our chorus. Chord 1, E flat major, C minor, F minor. Oh, sorry, I played an F sharp. It should be an F. And 5 is our B flat major again. Let's try that again. Okay, and there you have it. We wrote a tune without touching an instrument that actually sounds musically appropriate unless I hit the wrong chords like I did there a second ago. Okay, so this hopefully kind of solidifies, crystallizes the stuff we've talked about in this 4-part series. Incidentally, I am putting together a much more in-depth theory course for songwriters and producers that will be available at techmusacademy.com in the classroom. But I figure this is a great way to get you started and to sort of give you some food for thought to chew on and to bring back into your studio. So now that we've determined the key, we've determined what chords are in that key, we've determined that we wanted a major flavor, so we started with chord 6. That's all we did. And when I ended it on chord 6 as well, to make that sound like home, that we've gone around the block on a journey and we've landed home again. If I had have made it sound like if I had have used E flat chord 1, it would have made it sound like the song is major. Very simple, really, when you think about it. It's just understanding which notes are which, right? So hopefully this has cleared that up. So now that we've determined the notes, we've determined the chords, we've chosen a 4-bar phrase for the verse and a 4-bar phrase for the chorus, let's make a tune. Let's record it. So I've got Cubase on the screen. Let's bring that over here. I'm going to put this on my other screen so I can see it. And let's first determine a tempo. So I'm thinking, let me grab a metronome, because I could play this. I could play this as I did, or it could be. Right? So there's style now is the decision to make. So let's try, what tempo are we at here right now? We're at 120, I believe. 120. Let's see what 120 sounds like. I'm going to open up a drum loop library here and grab... So if we were to play at this tempo, let's see if I can keep that going. That could work. Let's experiment a little. Let's try knocking the tempo down to 100 and see what happens. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So let's drag that little groove on the screen here, and I've got my Mackie controller triggering the drums. I should fix that. So let's copy that out a little bit. That's a 2-bar loop, and each section is 4 bars. I'm going to turn my snap on so it snaps to the grid. And we'll make our verse and chorus two repetitions through the phrase. I'm just making arbitrary decisions here. So we've got the 4 chords in the chorus, we're going to do, or in the verse, we're going to do them twice, and then we're going to do the 4 chords in the chorus twice. So that's going to give us, ooh, wrong button, enough to work with, I believe. Okay. So next thing I want to do is record that guitar. So let's try this out. So just refresh my memory on the chords. 6, 3, 4, 5. Got it. C minor, G minor, A flat major, B flat major. Okay? So let's get the verse part kicking. And I should probably give myself a count in. Let's move that all over. A bar, and I'll put my click on so I can hear when I should be starting. All right, let's try this out. Play it again. Chorus. Okay, and there we go. We've got our 2 sections recorded. Let's add a little bass. I got a bass queued up on Hallian in Cubase. And let's see if I can figure this out. I'm not really much of a keyboard player, so our chords are 1, G, 4. Okay, I think I got the first section anyway. Let's try it out. Okay, and now let's figure out the chorus. Let me go in there and get rid of that last note because it's not the right one. So the chorus was, so it's E flat, C, I think I got it. All right, I think I got that better the second time around. So let's actually do this. We'll grab the second one. This is unrehearsed, ladies and gentlemen, unrehearsed. That's right, and then we'll grab this. There we go. Now we got it good. We got ourselves a piece of music. Turn the bass down a tiny bit. Let's hear the whole thing. Beautiful. So now let's put some, let's see, suitcase piano. Ooh, I like that. Let's add some of that in. Here we go. I'm just having fun now. Check it out. It appears as though that is transposed as well. So I'm a better guitar player than I am a keyboard player anyway. So let's do guitar instead. Add a quick track. Always label. Choose the correct input. And here we go. There you go. One take wonder. So hopefully, despite the technical difficulties, that this has made some sense to you and you can take this home, grab a pencil and a paper and start coming up with fresh ideas you might not have considered before, okay? So if you have questions, leave them in the comments, wherever it is that you found this content, whether it's on YouTube or on techmusicacademy.com or elsewhere, leave some comments because I do try to keep track and to make sure that I'm there to respond. So until next time, make some great music, make some fresh new music, and we'll see you next week.